Now, Aunt Nancy says, people think harm only comes with shouting, but silence? Silence is how you starve a woman in her own house. Rooster Man didn't yell, didn't beat walls, didn't curse her name. He did something worse. He stopped responding. Questions met with nothing. Pain met with distraction. Loneliness met with everything's fine. Moon Woman would speak, and her words would fall flat to the floor like dropped dishes nobody bothered to pick up. She learned to measure sentences, to shorten them, to rehearse them in her head before letting them out, because every word that went unanswered landed like a bruise. The house grew tense, not loud, not dramatic, just tight. A place where a woman never knew if she was welcome in her own thoughts. She started sleeping light, eating careful, listening too hard, because silence makes you vigilant. Silence makes you blame yourself. Rooster Man called it peace. Moon Woman felt it as danger. Aunt Nancy says, a home where a woman cannot speak safely is already burning, even if you don't see the flames. Moon Woman didn't break all at once. She eroded. She started doubting what she felt because nothing was ever acknowledged. She began to feel dramatic for wanting warmth, greedy for wanting connection, ashamed for needing reassurance. She tried harder, softened more, gave less trouble, and the quieter she became, the more the silence spread. The bed went cold, the air went heavy, the waiting turned cruel. Because waiting in silence is not patience, it is abandonment with a witness. Rooster Man avoided conversations the way some men avoid mirrors. He stayed busy, stayed practical, stayed unavailable. And when Moon Woman finally cracked enough to ask why, he stared at her like she was speaking a language he refused to learn. That's when something inside her broke loose. Not anger, grief. Aunt Nancy said, there is a specific grief that comes from being emotionally homeless while still paying rent with your body, your care, your loyalty. Moon Woman realized the house was no longer safe for her spirit, that her nervous system never rested, that love had become something she tiptoed around instead of lived inside, and the moon saw it all. Moon Woman didn't leave in a storm. She left in clarity. She understood then that staying was not noble. It was self-betrayal. That waiting longer would not heal the wound. It would deepen it. That a man who avoids connection does not suddenly wake up because a woman bleeds quietly enough. So she stopped offering herself to a house that could not hold her. She stopped speaking into silence. Stopped warming rooms that rejected her presence, stopped explaining pain to someone committed to misunderstanding. And when she withdrew, the truth howled. The house grew unbearable. The silence got loud. The absence of her labor exposed the rot. Rooster Man felt it then, too late, and called it loss. But Aunt Nancy say, loss is what happens when you ignore damage until the woman finally stops absorbing it. Moon Woman didn't choose herself because she was strong. She chose herself because staying meant disappearing completely. She left with her breath intact, her body listening again, her spirit no longer flinching at quiet. And the moon followed her out. Because the moon does not beg for light. It refuses to stay where it is not reflected. And Aunt Nancy closed the door and said, a woman don't leave because she wants more. She leaves because she cannot survive on nothing.